There are crucial defense controls in this game that can completely change how you defend. But here's the catch. Most of them come with options, and to the average player, those options look almost identical, but they're not. One gives you way more control, more consistency, and better results than the other. The top players already know which settings work best, and in this video, we're breaking them all down so you can make the right choices and stop making the game harder for yourself. Need coins? Go to u7buy.com, purchase and complete FC25 coins, or players. Any product over $5, and that equals to one draw. 1. Click on the Lucky Draw link below the video. 2. Click on Lucky Draw 1 free Lucky Draw chance per day. 3. Browse the page for more opportunities. Quickly complete a task such as purchasing an FC25 coin or player, minimum $5. Need coins? U7Buy is your best choice, with code DRFC for 8% off today. When it comes to jockey defending in FC, there are actually two types, Assisted Jockey and Manual Jockey. Let's start with Assisted Jockey. This is where the game helps control certain aspects of your defender, especially their speed. For example, when you're jockeying in an arc or moving around the ball holder, your defender might slow down automatically at key points. It's not random. The game is deliberately helping you stay close to the attacker. That's why, even if you move quickly, when you approach the dribbler, your defender slows down slightly, locking into a more stable position to maintain one-on-one pressure. You're not fully in control, but you're also less likely to overcommit or slide away. It's forgiving, and in offline modes, it can help players stay more consistent defensively. Now let's move to Manual Jockey. Here, there's no assistance. You're in full control of everything. Your speed, your angles, your positioning. There's no automatic slowdown. You have to manage how fast you move, when to adjust, and how tightly to mark. It's riskier, yes, but it's also more powerful. You get more freedom. You can track tighter, adjust quicker, cut lanes earlier, and react based on what you see, not what the game predicts. So what's better between the two? Well, unless you play strictly offline, Manual Jockey is the way to go. In online modes, Assisted Jockey doesn't even exist. The game gives you nothing automatic. So if you want to play at a high level or compete online, you have to master Manual Jockey. It's harder, but once you learn it, it gives you total control on defense. A lot of players are still using Contain. Some are thinking of switching to Jockey, and others aren't even sure what the difference is. If that's you, we're going deep into the difference between Contain and Jockey in FC25. No fluff. Now let's begin with Contain, all the way back to the roots. Beginning with Legacy defending, Contain is extremely aggressive. When you hold X on PlayStation or A on Xbox, your defender locks onto the ball and automatically rushes toward the ball carrier. It tracks the ball directly, not the space around it, making it highly automated and extremely fast when it comes to closing down. Even if you're behind the ball holder, this version of Contain reacts instantly. As long as you're holding the button, the defender sticks tight, tracks the ball closely, and applies constant pressure. You don't even need to worry about stick movement. The game does it all. Now in both tactical and advanced defending, Contain works differently, but the core function is the same. When you hold X on PlayStation or A on Xbox, your defender begins to track the attacker, but at a more controlled distance. It's more of a shadowing system. But here, if you're behind the ball holder, your defender stays facing the ball and moves with the attacker. But instead of diving in or overcommitting, he maintains a gap, applying passive pressure while giving you time to read the play. You don't have to use your left stick. The game controls the movement toward the ball. It's designed to delay, hold shape, and force attackers to make decisions under pressure. This version of Contain is about patience. It follows, shadows, and waits. That's how it works in both tactical and advanced defending using the same controls. Now let's talk about Jockey. Jockey is activated by holding L2 on PlayStation or LT on Xbox. Once you do, your defender enters a low, balanced stance and begins facing the ball. But here's the key difference. You have to move. There's no auto-tracking. You're in full control. You manually use the left stick to shift, angle, and position your defender. Whether you want to push forward, back off, cut left or right, it's all up to you. If you need to close space fast, you can release Jockey and hold Sprint. That's the freedom. You can switch between control and speed depending on the situation. Jockey isn't automated. It's precise, it's manual, and it gives you full command over how you want to defend. Let's break down the advantages and disadvantages of each, starting with Contain. In Legacy defending, Contain is super aggressive. It closes space immediately and locks to the ball. You don't have to think. You just hold a button and the game pressures for you. But again, Legacy isn't even part of online play, so it's not something competitive players rely on. In Tactical and Advanced, Contain gives you passive pressure. It's safer, helps you hold shape, and lets the game manage defensive distance. It's great for beginners or players who want structure without going fully manual. But here's the downside. You don't have full control. Your defender might hover too far away from the ball or move in a way that gives the attacker space. You can't make sharp adjustments. You're limited to the game's built-in movements. This means you're not able to cut inside lanes, pressure aggressively, or anticipate creatively. And if your timing is off, you could end up stuck in a passive state while the opponent makes their move. So while it feels safe, it can actually leave you reacting late and missing out on opportunities to intercept or win the ball early. Now let's flip to Jockey. Jockey gives you full control, and with that comes serious defensive power. First, it lets you react in real time during 1v1s. You can track movement precisely, match dribbles, and cut off sharp turns. You're not relying on the game. You're defending with your own skill. Second, Jockey allows you to cut passing lanes manually. If you can read the play, you can use your positioning to block passes before they even happen. And third, it lets you create traps. You can bait your opponent into taking a bad touch, opening up a pass, or cutting inside, and then punish them. This level of control means you're not just defending, you're setting the tempo of the attack, forcing mistakes, and dictating play. But the trade-off, it's not easy. Jockey takes time to learn. If your movement is shaky or you overcommit, you can get beat. It demands good reactions, discipline, and constant awareness. But once mastered, it becomes the most powerful tool in your defensive game. Now let's talk about something that's always controversial in FC, right stick switching, and whether you should use player relative or ball relative. It sounds simple, but the choice actually affects how you play defense at every level. Let's start with player relative. With this, the player you're currently controlling becomes the center of your switch. So if you want to switch to another player, you just flick your right stick in the direction of that player, relative to the one you're controlling. That's it. Clean, quick, and direct. It's super helpful when tracking runs off the ball, or when you need to switch to someone who's far away from the action, like your fullback or center back during a quick counter. But here's where most players struggle. When the ball is far from your controlled player, it can feel tricky. The angles feel different, and the switch direction isn't always intuitive. Now let's talk about ball relative. Here, the ball becomes the center of the switch. So no matter who you're controlling, if you want to switch to a specific defender, you flick the stick in the direction of that player, based on where the ball is. This method shines when you're pressing the ball or applying pressure high up the pitch. It feels more natural when you're focused on crowding out the ball holder or closing space fast. But, and this is important, it does come with challenges. First, if you've been using player relative for a while, switching to ball relative will feel very awkward at first. The angles are completely different and your muscle memory will fight against it. Second, it gives you less control in deeper defensive positions. Let's say your defenders are lined up across the box, and you want to switch from one to another. With player relative, you just flick directly from one to the next. But with ball relative, the switch line changes, and sometimes you'll need 2 flicks instead of 1, wasting that split second. And at the elite level, that second matters. So what's the best option? For me, it's player relative all day. It's just more consistent, easier to learn, and gives you full freedom across every area of the pitch, from tracking runs, cutting passing lanes, or reorganizing your backline fast. In FC 25, we've got 2 main defending types, tactical defending and advanced defending, and each gives you a different level of control when it comes to winning the ball. But for a lot of players, choosing between the 2 isn't easy. So let's break it down. Let's start with tactical defending. This is what most players are used to. It comes with AI assistance baked in. When you press the tackle button, usually circle or B, the game will automatically decide which tackle style to use based on the situation. It could be a stand tackle when you're directly in front of the attacker, a shoulder push if you're side by side with the opponent. The main thing here is you press one button and the game picks the defensive action for you. That means you don't need to think about what type of tackle to use. You just focus on positioning your defender well, and the game handles the rest. This makes tactical defending great for beginners or players who struggle with switching, pressure timing, or panic in 1v1s. But here's the catch. Because the game decides for you, it's not always perfect. Sometimes it might do a stand tackle when what you really needed was a shoulder push. and those moments can cost you, especially in tight situations. Now let's move to advanced defending. This is for players who want total control. Here the tackling system is split. You press circle or B for a stand tackle, and you press X or A for a shoulder push. So now you're the one choosing which action fits the situation. You want to knock the opponent off balance from the side? Use X for a shoulder push. You're front-facing and ready to poke the ball cleanly? Use circle for a stand tackle. This level of control allows you to be more precise, especially when defending at a high level. But here's the thing. Advanced defending isn't for everyone. If you're still struggling with the basics, like positioning, switching, or timing your pressure, advanced defending adds another layer of difficulty that you might not be ready for yet. So which one should you use? If you're still learning the ropes or want a more forgiving experience, tactical defending is the way to go. It lets you focus on the most important part of defending, your positioning and movement, without stressing about which tackle type to use in every moment. Then, as you get more confident and your defending starts feeling more solid, that's when you can switch to advanced defending. It gives you more control, better precision, and ultimately, more tools to dominate defensively, but only when you're ready. So start smart. Master the basics with tactical, then level up to advanced when you're ready to take full control of every challenge. Defending in FC25 isn't just about positioning or tackles. You need to know when to use sprint, slow jockey, or speed jockey because each one has its role. Use the wrong one in the wrong moment. Boom, you're beaten. Let's dive into what each one does, when to use it, and why. Let's start with the slow jockey. This is when you hold L2 or LT. Now this does two main things. First, it helps you hold your ground. Like if you're already in front of the opponent's attacker and you just want to maintain that position while staying reactive, this is the move. It lets your defender stay balanced, ready to block, tackle, or follow a change of direction. Second, it helps you slow down in a running duel. Maybe the opponent was sprinting, but suddenly he cuts his pace. You can do the same by tapping into slow jockey. It keeps you responsive without rushing into a challenge. Slow jockey gives you tight control, but the biggest disadvantage, you're way too slow. If the attacker is sprinting or making quick moves, you'll never catch up. You can't cover wide areas, and if you're out of position, forget about recovering. It's perfect for 1v1s in tight spaces. But if you rely on it too much, you'll concede easy goals against fast players. It's a tool, not a full strategy. Then we have the speed jockey. That's L2 plus R2 or LT plus RT. This one's a bit different. Your defender still faces the ball, like in slow jockey, but now moves faster. It's not as fast as sprinting, but it's quicker than slow jockey, and the speed lets you cover more ground without totally losing defensive shape. Now here's when you use it. When there's some distance between you and the opponent's ball holder, and you want to close that gap fast, but still stay reactive in case he cuts or passes. When you're tracking diagonal runs or trying to move across the pitch while still defending smart, this is the tool. But there's a trade-off. Speed jockey can mess you up if the opponent turns quickly. Since you're moving fast, your player might overrun or lose positioning. Still, if the opponent doesn't react quick, you can recover fast and still defend the situation. One more thing. Speed jockey doesn't help when you need to drag back players deep into your own box. In that case, it's not slow enough to regain deep shape. That's where you'd need slow jockey or just manual positioning. Then we have sprinting, the full-on R2-RT press. This is straight-up pace and aggression. Use it to chase an opponent down, especially when there's space in front of him. You need to match that speed. Use it to close a big gap fast, like when the opponent is building up and you need to step out or press high. And use it when they're trying to get in behind. Sprint helps you recover and apply pressure before they shoot. But the danger? Sprinting makes you lose control. It's almost impossible to defend tight 1v1s or tricky skill moves if you're holding sprint. Your player becomes stiff, turns slower, and can't react fast enough. So here's the key lesson. You can't defend with only slow jockey. It's too slow in transition, and fast attackers will tear you apart. You can't only use speed jockey either. It works, but you'll lose positioning against quick dribblers, and you won't be able to pull defenders back when needed. And sprinting is useful for recovery or pressing, but it's a big risk in tight spaces. You need all three. Defending in FC25 is about timing and balance. Use sprint when you're far and need to recover or close gaps quickly. Use speed jockey to cover ground fast in a reactive way, but be smart with your angles. Use slow jockey when you're close, holding position, and waiting to react.